Hey everybody, so I wanted to give you a quick glance in this video at some of the artwork I've done over the last year or so since we've moved to Tennessee. Obviously, my thing for growing stuff exceeds just garden. It plays a part in many parts of my life. We'll get more into the artwork probably at a later date. I have another channel that is specifically for my artwork. But these are just a couple things that I have hanging on the wall in my office. And as springtime gets further and further upon us, we started a little earlier here in Tennessee than some of you guys, but it is definitely getting green here, and I think a lot of us that love to garden are getting our itchy fingers. We are ready to be playing in the dirt. A lot of us, this season really starts about Christmas time. A lot of people, the next day after Christmas, that's when they start ordering their seeds and planning their garden for the next year. I'm not quite that ahead of things, but it's definitely something that is on your mind immediately after Christmas starts. But let's get into actually talking plants. I think this is a petunia that actually survived somehow from last year. I've got some green onions there that are trying to decide if they're going to live or die, and then these are the chives that I planted a couple years ago, and they are going strong. Those others are garlic. Okay, so this is a coneflower. It's a sprout coming up from last year's roots under the ground, and it's looking kind of puny. I'm not sure what the deal is because the coneflowers I transplanted at my mother-in-law's place last season are coming up just fine for the most part. I think one of them decided not to come back, but I think maybe because this one is in a pot, it's just not doing as well, so it's kind of sad. I'm going to let it go for a little while, see if he can crawl his way up there, and if he can make it, he deserves to live. Otherwise, we'll put something else in this pot here probably in a couple weeks. These are, I think, pansies that I planted last fall, and they went a little sleepy over the winter, but they have pulled through just fine. This is basically my big planter that I grow all my salad greens and things in. This is red Russian kale. I like it small and in soups and young. This is spinach. First season I have successfully grown spinach in any measure. This is garlic. And I think the garlic is a little crowded in this end of the planter, but it's chugging through just fine. These were really pretty a few weeks ago. I'll put some pictures in before we had our last real freeze. They were very vibrant, especially this purple one. It was just gorgeous. And then we had a little bit of time where it was down in the teens and I just covered them with a bed sheet. And they've pulled through just fine, hardly the worse for the wear. But they've given me something pretty to look at. This was the Ice Queen lettuce before I harvested a whole bunch of it for like a week's worth of salad for a couple of people. I was able to share that with some family and some friends, so it's always a rewarding thing. I've started lots of dill seeds because there's never enough for me and the butterflies. Probably going to start some more. This is bok choy. It's a baby variety. And then we have bee balm, which is sending up stalks because it can sense that the days are getting longer and growing season is here. Transplanted some cilantro starts that I plugged in the soil a while back. That's our big marigold out of the 6-pack that I shared, that I started. We got peppermint, lavender that's a few years old. We have mums from a couple years ago, and this is my lattice planter with all my extra garlic and lettuce and spinach, and I've got peas planted in the back. You can see here some of the spinach has started to bolt because we've had a couple 80-degree days. It did get to come inside when it got really cold, but I'm not going to pull it in every time we have warm weather too. Talk about some spoiled salad. And I think this is Simpson lettuce. I thought it was more Ice Queen, but this is Ice Queen. So I think the other one, I must have just thrown some Simpson lettuce seeds that I had in there. And then in the back, this is just kind of a regular snap pea that I have growing up the lattice, and they are slowly crawling their way up. They're actually the main reason I brought all this in when it got so cold, because I lost my peas last fall. You can see nobody has the kind of yard here that you can put stuff in the ground, so it's mainly container planting. This is a citronella plant belonging to my husband's grandmother, and she gave it to me to bring back to life because she thought it was dead. There was just two little green nubs, and it's grown up beautifully, and I've actually trimmed like 12 different pieces off of it and turned them into brand new plants. So everybody gets citronella this spring, and we can hopefully minimize mosquito bites out on the patios. And we have more garlic that I just kind of plugged in wherever I had a spot in some bare soil. My thyme, my oregano, and even my sage has started to come back, so they are all perennial here in lower middle Tennessee. This planter's kind of a mess. I need to clean it up. It's got some pine mulch blown into it, but we got some happy herbs come back, and that is super exciting. I really like this back patio area we have. It doesn't get great light, but we get good sky over the soccer field here, and in the summer those trees are really pretty. So in the house I have my English ivy that's been happy enough, and this is a ZZ plant. Somebody in the neighborhood was moving away and looking to rehome. I've got all my seeds that I have set aside for this season. I will go through those in another video. Same person that gave me the ZZ plant gave me this one and the other succulent, and they're super cute. Something that I enjoy, but I never would have bought for myself just because they're fairly impractical, but they're beautiful. I'm not sure what this one is called, actually. If you know, let me know in the comments. And this is oregano in a teacup, having a drink and growing some roots, and more citronella, also off of that plant on the patio. And a friend gave me an elephant ear. And this is a poinsettia from a few years back. So guys, this is just garlic from the grocery store. I tend to save the largest 2 cloves from every bulb I buy, and I try to stick them in the dirt somewhere. You saw some of the garlic out in my planters out back, and there's a bunch more in my planters in the front. So you can see this one has sprouted already, so you just stick it in the hole this side down, this side up. Like here's one that hasn't sprouted yet. So it's just regular old grocery store garlic. And you do want to leave this paper peel on it because it helps protect the clove so that it doesn't rot in the ground before it can sprout and put out roots from that end. Seems like I always have a pile of this kind of stuff on my table that needs to find a home in some dirt somewhere. These potatoes I'm going to try to plant tomorrow, and we have some sweet potatoes I'm hoping to grow slips from. And this is broccoli. I have a bunch of little broccoli starts. They really germinate easily. Highly recommend for somebody new to seed starting, if you want to try some broccoli, it is very easy to deal with. The ones with the red stems are actually beets, and there's a lot to talk about there, but I'm mainly growing them for greens. And I have parsley, curly leaf, and let's talk about this for a quick second. So I made a big mistake with these onions. They are Texas grano and red of Florence. Red of Florence is sort of a shallot style onion. I don't know what I was thinking the day that I started these. I put them in this really shallow plastic tray, and they needed a good 3 inches, maybe 4 for roots, so I've lost some of them, and that's kind of sad. This is the beginnings of the potato bed that I put in. I'll get another picture of that later. They should have sprouts coming up. These are amaranth that I'm going to grow for salad greens, and more baby bok choy. That's another thing that if you're new to starting seeds, those were really easy to deal with. And they sprout really, really easily. So there's more dill. And some blue spice basil that I'm really excited for. I've never had it before, and I think it's going to make a really good iced tea all summer long. I've got sweet marjoram, and these are a Merlot lettuce. You can see they're starting to turn red on their top leaves. They're really pretty. And the red in this amaranth, I think, is just going to be gorgeous. So I've got some marigolds that I plug in everywhere because they're pretty and they're a pest deterrent. Basil, and that is the bottom of a celery bunch that I got at the grocery store. We'll see how tall I can get it to grow up before it's toast. And I've got some peppers. I've got like 4 or 5 different varieties of peppers that I'm growing this year. And there's more lettuce. So I'll have to do another video just talking about the peppers, because the peppers by themselves, peppers and tomatoes both, are kind of a special project unto themselves. And there's more oregano. Oregano propagates really, really easily. That's probably worth doing a video on too, just to talk some more about that. I love this purple opal basil, and the green is a Genovese basil that's kind of the kind that you always see when you're looking at seeds at Walmart. More peppers. There's a lot of the citronella starts that are rooted and ready to go to their new homes. Some beets that I had separated out. Again, they're in cups and they're doing fine in cups because I'm only growing them for the greens. More peppers, more oregano, more lettuce. Oregano, I think also, because it has such a strong smelling oil, is good for deterring pests. And in the pink tray in the front, let's see, those are marigolds. These are petunias, which this is the first year I've ever grown those from seeds, so that's exciting. So I've got loads and loads of seeds that I could talk about for days, and we'll do another video on those. But here, starting with this lettuce, these are some things I'm going to be planting here over the next couple of days. I'm doing some focusing on container-friendly varieties of tomatoes because, like I mentioned, everybody in my neighborhood is basically in a position where they can't put things in the ground very easily. And so I wanted to offer some starts for sale because they're so hard to come by, some of those varieties. And these are some flowers that I had looked at. I've been looking at these particular varieties online for about a year now. And I thought, well, you know, I've been looking at them for this long. It means I really want them. It's a good tip for making sure that you're not just impulse spending and throwing your money out the window on stuff that doesn't actually matter to you. If you save it in your cart and you find that you're returning to look at it more than, I think my signpost is usually about 5 times, then you know it's something that stays on your mind. It is really important to you, it matters, and it's worth spending your money on. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll have another video up soon.